Hi there, I am Amelia Fabriches, and this is my Module 6 case study, Parental Apathy for EDL 856. So what do we know about this case? Mrs. Rose is a brand new assistant principal, freshly done with her program. She finished up in the summer, and her last course happened to be community relations, and she is excited and really values parent involvement. The school, John F. Kennedy, it has struggled with parent involvement. The principal, once upon a time, tried to promote it, but now does not think it is worth its time. He doesn't think parents want to be involved and is opposed to trying to change their involvement, and he seems rather burned out. After a little time with Mrs. Rose, he agrees to the request to having a parent meeting on becoming more involved, maybe having an advisory group. However, this meeting is poorly attended, and the principal did not even want to continue with it, seeing it as being pretty useless. What do we need to know? First off, we need to know what kind of school is John F. Kennedy? Is it a high school? Is it a middle school? Is it an elementary school? Is it K through 12? Is it large? Is it small? What are the dynamics of the school? Also, we need to know the dynamic of the community. What is the population? Is it in a rural or urban setting, inner city, things like that. Also, what are the socioeconomics? What are parents doing? Are they well off? Are they working? Is there a lot of poverty? Things like that. We need to understand the demographics to know what might be some issues or resistance to parent involvement. We also need to understand the history of the community, some of its traditions, what goes on there, to understand the flow of the people and the norms that they do within that local society. It's also important to recognize where their pride rests as a community. If it's not with the school, where is it at? What are they doing? What is the school what is the community proud of? What are they involved in? And how can the school play that up and use that in their favor? Furthermore, we need to understand why the community is resisting becoming involved. What are the factors that are keeping them from coming involved? Also, we need to understand why the principal has become so opposed to prioritizing parent involvement. Why has that become a lost cause for him? What strategies did he maybe once try that haven't worked for him? And where did the failure happen? And then finally, we need to understand those mere 8 parents' thoughts on involvement. We definitely need to ask them questions and get as much feedback and as much insight as we can from those 8 parents who decided to come to the meeting. So the problem, the issue is that the parents have not been and continue to be uninvolved at the school and do not show much interest. Also, the principal has determined it to be a lost cause and has little desire to try and enhance parent-school relations. Also, Mrs. Rose is a big supporter of school-parent relations and wants to see improvement and change, but she has very little support. So, plan of action. First, I would encourage the principal that the meeting with these 8 parents is a good starting point and is very worth having. I would be very optimistic and convince him that we need to use the resources that we have and go on with this meeting and get as much feedback as possible. So in that meeting, find out why parents are opposed to being involved, and then maybe some suggested solutions that can help with our next step in trying to enhance involvement. Next, communication is extremely important, and the school needs to reach parents, so they need to use every resource out there: social media, newsletters, the school website, email, newspaper, have face-to-face interactions, really get themselves out there, make themselves known, and encourage parents to want to be active members of the school and in their kids' learning. They need to be as personable as possible, make themselves available, and make parents become curious and excited for their students. Next, a survey needs to be conducted. Show parents you want to get their thoughts and you want to work with them and communicate with them. A simple questionnaire will be a great way to get a pool of responses from a diverse group. They will then begin to see the strides being made in creating more involvement. It's very low risk, and hopefully this will entice them and provide some insight for you as well. To continue with the plan of action, I would then host a low-risk social event, really to attempt to hype up this parent involvement in the school. This would provide also some really great opportunities for conversations to be had, to get to know parents, really make those face-to-face interactions. And I think a way to do this would be maybe to do a school showcase of sorts. So have a gallery walk with a school artwork, maybe have the snacks provided that were prepared by students in classes. And so then parents can see their work and, just be social and enjoy the event and get to have those face-to-face conversations. Next, I will work really hard with the principal to convince him and prove to him that this cause is worthy of time and energy for the good of students and ultimately their learning. I would show him that I'm willing to work really hard, but also want his approval and support and really want to communicate with him. I don't want to do anything, behind his back, things like that. And then also to be flexible and resilient. There may be a lot of resistance at first, and some ideas may be a flop, but the community and parents will begin to see dedication, and I think the buy-in will increase if the resilience is there. We must utilize those initial parents wanting to be involved and start creating a little group and committee and use that in our favor. Then I would create very realistic goals, really get those out there for people to understand what that goal is, and do whatever it takes to achieve that. And once that has been achieved, really show that, amp that up, display that success, the student success as a direct result of parent involvement. And this will encourage people. People like success, and I really think that can get the ball rolling, and it can keep it rolling. There must be follow through and student benefits in a plan of action. If those aren't there, the plan of action will be a flop. So to resolve this issue, what is best for students? In this course, we have examined over and over the value of positive community-school relations. Studies have proven that students can benefit more or are more successful when parents are involved. And then in my personal experience, I'm a part of a community that is very involved. It's a small community. The school is definitely its priority. And I see that as a result of the support from families, I am more encouraged and supported to try new things in the classroom. I'm able to easily communicate with them if I need resources or just even, potential opportunities. Parents are willing to, step in because they see that direct benefit to their students. However, that precedent was set before I entered the district. But I think once parents see that personal involvement is benefiting their students, they will become more involved. The principal will then be reminded of why it needs to be a priority in the community. The principal at this school has definitely forgotten why that's a value, and Mrs. Rose is wonderful because she's willing to revive those relations because she understands it needs to be a priority. The principal must buy in, and he must be the leader. He or she must be a leader of the school and in the community. Also, I would recognize that there are parents willing to be involved and totally use them and whatever resources you have. You have to start small and recognize any and all successes and student benefits as a direct result of the student involvement, no matter how small that achievement is to begin with. Reflecting on this issue, Um, thinking, I think first and foremost that parent involvement in this situation must change. I know there's often a lot of resistance to change, but there's no doubt in my mind that that must change. It must become a priority for the benefit of students. I also can't help but think why the principal is so opposed to parent involvement. What has been his experiences, um, and why is that such something that he just is so pushing back on? I also think of what has been going on and how can I make changes that are subtle and successful in ways that aren't too abrasive at first. How do you do that? What is the smoothest way to make a positive transition? Feelings here. My first feeling is that our students are missing out on the best school experience they could have. They've been having an injustice in their education because of this. Also, parents clearly do not understand the value and the rewards of becoming involved in the school. They haven't had good experiences, and that needs to change. I am also discouraged for Mrs. Rose. I can't imagine, finishing up these courses and being really excited, and then just not, getting the support that she wants. But I'm also really inspired by her that she understands and she's dealing with this pushback, but yet she's going to do what she's got to do to get parents more involved. I totally value Mrs. Rose's diligence and desire to see the improvement. I also value the principal's willingness to give it a shot. He's definitely not excited about it at this point, but he's not completely opposed to trying it, and I think that's really important. I also really value that there are parents willing to make a change. They are there, and they need to be utilized. Standard 7, an educational leader promotes academic success and personal well-being of every student by promoting communities of engagement for families and other stakeholders in the community. So component 1, how did you as an educational leader promote the academic success of every student? Mrs. Rose saw the need for parent involvement. Step 1, she addressed the issue with her principal, and then she hosted a meeting to receive feedback on the issue and see where they stand. Component 2, how did you as an educational leader promote the personal well-being of every student? Communication was enhanced, and that is really important. A small advisory group has been formed, and then parents have been provided with a survey and some information regarding the value of parent-school involvement, and there's going to be some feedback that you're going to receive as a result of that survey. And then component 3, how did you as an educational leader promote the communities of engagement for families and other stakeholders? A meeting has been conducted, so that's step 1, and hopefully there are more of those to come. That's the first of many. An event is going to be hosted or had been hosted, a social event, a student showcase, a way to make those face-to-face relations, and then publicity is out. The survey is there, and information is being sent out, and information is being received. Here are my 2 standards. Standard 1, excellence in professional practice to promote and model effective communication and collaboration among stakeholders using digital age tools. And standard 2, develop family and community partnerships. This is really important for student benefits. Parents must be involved, and I think we have definitely learned the value of that throughout this course. Thanks for watching.